Hello everyone, welcome to Prelims Warm-Up. In this particular initiative, we are looking at some of the important previous year questions from various subjects. These questions have been asked in UPSC Prelims of the previous years. This initiative has been brought to you by Aptplus Academy for Civil Services, and my name is Shayak Datta. I am the faculty for Geography and Environment at Aptplus Academy for Civil Services. So let us start with the questions for today. Today we are going to look at some questions from history which had appeared in the previous year prelims examination. The first question, this one had appeared in 2012 UPSC prelims examination. The question is asking the Lahore session of the Indian National Congress 1929. Lahore session of the Indian National Congress 1929 is very important in history because first statement is the Congress passed a resolution demanding complete independence. The Congress passed a resolution demanding complete independence. Number two, the rift between the extremists and the moderates were resolved in that session. So in the Lahore session, the rift or basically the conflict between the extremists and the moderates that was resolved in the Lahore session. The third statement is a resolution was passed rejecting the two-nation theory in that session. A resolution was passed rejecting the two-nation theory in that session. So we have these three statements, and you have to choose which of the statement is correct with regards to the significance of the Lahore session. So out of these, we get to see that is the first one is the most appropriate answer. The Lahore session of the Indian National Congress 1929, that is very important history because in this session we get to see that the Indian National Congress headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, he had passed a resolution which demanded complete independence or Purna Swaraj, right? So Lahore session is important because in this particular session, the resolution for Purna Swaraj was passed for the first time. So 1A is the right answer. Okay, 1A is the right answer. So over here, I have included a particular slide over here, that is Lahore Congress session of 1929. It was also an important stage of our entire independence movement. This Congress session, it was held at Lahore in 1929 under the presidentship of Jawaharlal Nehru. So why was Jawaharlal Nehru chosen as the president of this session? Because he was amongst the young nationalists at that time, and he along with Subhash Chandra Bose had been rooting for Purna Swaraj, whereas the older nationalists, they were more content with dominion status, with the achievement of dominion status. But it was Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose who were actually emphasizing on the need for Purna Swaraj, and hence we get to see Jawaharlal Nehru was chosen as the president of the Lahore session of the Congress. Now, following decisions were taken. Number one, the Lahore Congress or the Congress declared Purna Swaraj as its aim. This happened for the first time. The Purna Swaraj was declared as the aim. Next, it was decided to celebrate 26th of January every year as Independence Day. Okay, at this particular session, it was decided that every year 26th of January will be celebrated as Independence Day. And the last one is it was decided to start the civil disobedience movement to win Purna Swaraj. So civil disobedience movement, as we know, which was started, and in the 1930s we had the civil disobedience movement. So the decision to start the civil disobedience movement was taken at this particular session of the Indian National Congress. Okay, so question number 1A is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, and this question was asked in the year 2011 UPSC prelims. This question states that with reference to the period of colonial rule in India, home charges formed an important part of the drain of wealth from India. Okay, so when you had the colonial rule in India, we get to see there was a particular type of charge which is called as home charge. So home charges, it formed an important part of the drain of wealth from India. So people like R.C. Dutt, great economists like R.C. Dutt had mentioned about the drain of wealth from India, and in that drain of wealth we had a particular term which is called as home charges, which was mentioned again and again. The question is, which of the following funds constituted the home charges out of the given ones, which constituted the home charges. So this question was asked in the year 2011. Number one, funds used to support the India office in London. The funds which were used to support the India office in London. Number one. Number two, funds used to pay salaries and pensions of British personnel who were engaged in India. Number three, funds used for waging wars outside India by the British. Funds used for waging wars outside India by the British. Okay, so these three type of funds have been mentioned, and we have been asked to find out, or we have been asked to select those which formed a part of the home charges, which was one of the major reasons for the drain of wealth from India. And the answer to this we find in the words of R.C. Dutt himself. So the options are A, 1 only, B, 1 and 2 only, C, 2 and 3, and D, 1, 2 and 3. So if we look at how R.C. Dutt, the economist, the legendary economist, explains home charges. So you see over here, home charges, it means the money spent by Britain in Britain, but on behalf of India. When we talk about home charges, it basically means the money which is spent by whom? By Britain. Where? In Britain again, but these charges are related to the, or it is associated with India only, or the administration in India. So what does it include? Number one, it includes the dividends of East India stock. The dividends on East India stock, number one. Number two, interest in home debt. Interest in home debt. Three, the salaries of the officers. So even the salaries of these British officers that was paid from the wealth of India itself. The salaries of the officer, that is number three. Number four, the establishment of the building connected with the Home Department of Indian government. Number five, furlough and retired pay to members of the Indian military and the civil services when at home. Number six, charges of all descriptions paid in this country connected with the British troops serving in India. Number seven, portions of the cost of transporting the British troops to and from India. Okay, so all of these formed what we call as the home charges. So out of the given options that we get to see, option D, 1, 2 and 3 should be the right answer. So for question number 2, option D, 1, 2 and 3 is the right answer. Home charges included all of these various charges, all the expenditure on all these heads all together, that was included under home charge. Now let us move on to the next question, the third question, and this question was asked in UPSC Prelims 2013. Now this question is related to a very significant peasant movement in the history of India. The question asks, the demand for the Tebhaga peasant movement in Bengal was for what? The demand for the Tebhaga peasant movement in Bengal, it was related to what? A, the reduction of the share of the landlords from 1/2 of the crop to 1/3. The reduction of the share of the landlords from 1/2 of the crop to 1/3. This is A. B, the grant of ownership of land to peasants as they were the actual cultivators of the land. C, the uprooting of zamindari system and the end of serfdom. And D, the writing off all the peasant debts. So the demand for the Tebhaga peasant movement in Bengal was for what? Now just for your information, when we say Tebhaga in Bengali basically means 1/3. Tebhaga in Bengali basically means 1/3. So the entire movement was with regards to A, whatever has been mentioned under A, that is the reduction of the share of the landlord from 1/2. So earlier the landlords, they used to get 1/2 of the produce of whatever was produced. So 1/2 was the entire half portion of the produce was given to the landlords, and the landlords took it away. But the peasants, they wanted that the share should not be half of the produce, but rather the peasants should be allowed to keep 2/3 of the produce, and 1/3 of the produce should go to the landlord. This entire Tebhaga peasant movement in Bengal was with regards to that only. Okay, so when it comes to question number 3, here I have mentioned a little bit of introduction regarding the Tebhaga movement. The word Tebhaga literally means 3 shares of harvest. That word Tebhaga literally means 3 shares of harvest. It was a sharecroppers movement which demanded 2/3 for themselves. So the peasants, the sharecroppers, they wanted to keep 2/3 of the produce for themselves and 1/3 for the landlord. Earlier, the sharecroppers used to give 50-50 share of the products of the produce on their tenancy. Okay, so they used to give 50% of their produce to the landowners and 50% only they could keep for themselves, but they were not happy with it. What did they want? They wanted to give at least 66%, that is 2/3 with themselves. The crop sharing system at that time was known as Bargha. So before, earlier, it was called as Bargha. That is when 50% had to be shared with the landlords. It used to be called as Bargha or also called as Adhi, sometimes also called as Baghi. Okay, Bhagi or Adhi, these were the terms which were used for the sharecropping system or the crop sharing system when the landowners used to give 50% of the produce with themselves and 50% only the peasants could keep for themselves. And hence the sharecroppers, they were called as Bargadas or Adhiyars. Only Adhi or Adha part was with them. These sharecroppers seriously challenged the custom of sharing crops between the Bargadar and the landlords in 1946-47, and during the harvest of 1946, the sharecroppers of a few north and northeastern districts of Bengal, they went to fields and they cut down the crops and they thrashed them on their own. So it was a very momentous time in the entire history of peasant movements in India. So the answer is A. A is the reduction of the share of the landlords from 1/2 of the crop to 1/3. Now, moving on to the fourth question for the day. The fourth question is with regards to the Quit India movement. The Quit India movement was launched in response to what? The Quit India movement was launched in response to what? And this question was asked in 2013 prelims. Okay. So we have 4 options: A, Cabinet Mission Plan; B, Cripps Proposal; C, Simon Commission Report; and D, Weigel Plan. Okay. The Quit India movement was launched in response to what? This was asked in 2013. A, Cabinet Mission Plan; B, Cripps Proposal; C, Simon Commission Report; and D, Weigel Plan. So the Quit India movement, it was actually launched in response to the Cripps, the Stafford Cripps proposal. So we'll see that and we will get to see that over here. I have given you a little bit of idea regarding the Quit India movement. So here we get to see Quit India movement, and let us see the background of it. First of all, when was it launched? The Quit India movement was launched at the Bombay session. It was launched at the Bombay session of the All India Congress Committee. So AICC, All India Congress Committee, they met in Bombay for the Bombay session, and it was headed by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so this Quit India movement was launched by Mahatma Gandhi. When on 8th of August 1942, what is the objective? Demanding an end to the British rule. This was the major objective. Okay, now you have to quit India. So let us see the background development, and you have, if this was launched around 1942, then you have to see the background. That is, what was the situation around the 1940s. In the 1940, the Congress offered to cooperate. That is, then the Second World War was going on, and we get to see for Britain, which was under threat from the Japanese troops, from the Axis powers. So for Britain, it was necessary that there should be peace at home. That is, in India, and the Indian troops should cooperate with British troops mainly. So basically, the Britishers, they wanted the cooperation of Indians. How could they win the hearts and minds of the Indians? For that, they had to please them. How? So they had to give them whatever Indians were demanding. What were the Indians demanding? The Indians were demanding Purna Swaraj. They wanted complete freedom. But we get to see that the Britishers, they were reluctant to offer it. So basically, the idea was this: the Britishers, they were actually promising certain things to India, provided that Indians cooperate, especially the Indian National Congress, it cooperates with the Britishers during the war. That is the Second World War. So in the 1940s, the Congress offered to cooperate if power was transferred to an interim government, to a temporary interim government. The British government responded by making the so-called August offer. The August offer, under which it offered to expand Viceroy's Executive Council and set up a representative body after the war to frame a constitution for India. But Congress rejected this. Then we have the Cripps mission. So Cripps mission failure. In return for Indian leaders' cooperation during the war, the British delegation under Stafford Cripps. So the Cripps mission was sent under Stafford Cripps in 1942, which offered a limited dominion status after the war. So if Indians cooperated with the Britishers during the war, then after the war, Indians were promised that they would be offered a limited dominion status. Now, while the latest offer was an improvement over the August offer, whatever was offered in 1940 under the August offer, the latest offer was an improvement over that, but it was insufficient to meet the needs or to meet the demands of the Indians in the 1940s. So Indians were basically not content with just being provided with a dominion status. They were looking for complete independence, which the Britishers, or you can say the Cripps mission, it was not providing India with. So that is why Indian National Congress, Mahatma Gandhi, they decided it is now time to launch a very big movement, which we call as the Quit India movement, and this should ultimately result in the moving out of the Britishers from India. Okay, so answer is B. Cripps proposal. Quit India movement was launched in response to Cripps proposal. Finally, question number 5, and here we have a question which was asked in the year 2013. So this question is saying that the people of India agitated against the arrival of the Simon Commission. The people of India agitated against the arrival of the Simon Commission. Why? A. Indians never wanted the review of the working of the Act of 1919. So basically the Simon Commission mainly came in order to review how this Government Act of 1919 is working. That is the Montego-Chelmsford reforms, how that Montego-Chelmsford reforms, how they are working, or what is the modification which is required, etc., etc. But then we get to see it was supposed to come after 10 years, but it came much earlier. So why it came earlier, etc., etc., all these things you can study from Spectrum. But for the time being, let us just focus on the question at hand. The people of India agitated against the arrival of the Simon Commission. We get to see there was large-scale agitation against the arrival of the Simon Commission. Question is why? Number 1, or A. Indians never wanted the review of the working of the Act of 1990. Is that correct? No, that is not correct. Not because Indians didn't want the Act to be reviewed. That is not the question. B. Simon Commission recommended the abolition of diarchy in the provinces, where we get to see there was a separation in the powers or in the kind of functions of the nominee of the Britishers and the popularly elected ministers. So was the Simon Commission for this? Again, that is not the reason why Indians agitated against the Simon Commission. C. There was no Indian member in the Simon Commission. And D. The Simon Commission suggested the partition of the country. That is also incorrect. The correct option should be C. That is, there was no Indian member in the Simon Commission, and that was the major point of the agitating people. Okay, you want to decide how India should be governed, but there are no Indian members to review the working of this particular Government of India Act. So that should ideally not be the case. So we get to see that such kind of demonstrations were held all over India. Black flags were shown all over India in order to make the Simon Commission go back. So we get to see that the Simon Commission, it was a group of 7 MPs, 7 member of parliaments from Britain, who were sent to India in 1928. And what was the major objective? To study the constitutional reforms and to make recommendations to the government. The commission was originally named. What was the original name of the commission? Please remember this. The original name of the commission was the Indian Statutory Commission. The original name of the commission was the Indian Statutory Commission. But it came to be known as the Simon Commission. It came to be known as the Simon Commission. Why? Because of its chairman. And the name of the chairman was Sir John Simon. That is why it was called as the Simon Commission. Okay, so Indian Statutory Commission was the original name, and this Simon Commission consisted mainly of 7 MPs from Britain, no Indians, and they had come in 1928 to review how well the constitutional reforms of 1919 had been working. And it was called a Simon Commission because of its chairman, that is Sir John Simon. Okay, so answer should be C. Already we have seen that the answer should be C for question number 5. Okay, so with this, we complete today's class and the set of 5 questions for today. And I hope you have liked the video. And if you have liked it, please like the video. Please subscribe to Active Plus's YouTube channel. Please share it with your co-aspirants, with your friends who can benefit from this video. And we'll meet again the next time with 5 more questions from previous year UPSC prelims examination. So till then, stay safe, study hard, and thank you so much.
I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz.